What's going on, everybody? Eric Lindquist at Stokastic here on the Odd Chopper channel, coming to you with another edition of Lindy's Leans, Likes, and Locks. Hit that like button, subscribe button, and notification bell. It goes a long way for me on this video and goes a long way for you, because then you become apprised whenever great content is going live here at our little neck of the YouTube woods. What a football game we had in store. I did not see 73 points coming down the pipeline for Eagles and Chiefs. Congratulations if you're a Kansas City fan. I'm a Vikings fan. I have no idea what it's like to play in a Super Bowl, let alone win one. Must be nice, but also Philadelphia, they won't burn the city down tonight. So probably a good thing for everybody involved. Looking forward to breaking down some NBA, where I think they're going to be playing basketball in Philadelphia tomorrow, barring a funeral or something of that nature. But regardless, it was an unbelievable season for both teams. NFL streets. Glad to kind of be past that, just so I can focus exclusively on NBA and PGA. Be on the lookout for some of that stuff. I played golf in college, for those who don't know, over at Iowa State. Going to be covering a lot of PGA stuff going forward now that the NFL season, I don't know why I said it that way. NFL season has now ended. Gone. We're moving on. Just like you should move on to DraftKings if you haven't signed up yet. Great offer we have going with them right now. You bet $5. You win $150 on any sport. So it doesn't matter if it's NBA, college basketball, no matter what it is. If you bet $5 and you win it, you get yourself $150 over at DraftKings. So sign up in the video description box below. I've got a pick for you coming up a little bit later. It's in the college basketball streets. Most of them are going to be, because favorites there just don't lose as often. And I want to get you that $150. But we have 11 games. Really mean of the NBA to do this to me after the Super Bowl, but 11 NBA games going in action on Monday. Let's get to the picks. Our day begins with a pretty tough one to assess, with Hawks and Hornets in Charlotte. Trae Young is probable once more, so that's neat. We're starting to see him play basketball games routinely instead of getting ruled out. I like that, but that's not the reason this is weird. It's weird because they just added Saddiq Bey from the Pistons because Golden State approved a trade despite Gary Payton III's physical that he failed. 3 months he's going to be out. They don't care. They're like, hey, we just wanted for the playoffs or something. I don't understand. Camaraderie, teamwork, framework of the team. I'm not sure, but pretty darn wild to me. But figuring out this post-trade minute situation for Saddiq Bey is a little bit of guesswork. And my guess is Bey does find minutes here. Again, more prop focused, but we will be paying close attention to him as John Collins is questionable. Bogdan Bogdanovic is questionable. He could be in line for a lot more minutes than you'd think right away. And Charlotte, only 5-point dogs here, even though they're terrible at the game of basketball, and only Kelly Oubre still out for them. Perfectly efficient team for the most part when it comes to props, although Ball to eclipse 8.5 assists makes a lot of sense here. Hell, let's make that a like, in fact, and not just because he's gone for double-digit assists last two, because I really could not care less about that fact. But he's seeing huge minutes, and even though this team is going absolutely nowhere, 36-plus minutes at 34.3% being his assist rate on the year has him on the brink of hitting double digits in my model, 9.9 to be exact. Easy play to start our day. You know what? I'll get better as we go on. I have 10 more games to improve, but LaMelo Ball, over 8.5 assists, I like it. Spurs against Cleveland is up next, and my oh my, are we getting a little ridiculous with spreads here? In fact, the two biggest spreads of the entire year in the NBA are on this slate. 14.5 to open here, and 14.5 in the Rockets-Sixers game up next. But, well, I mean, it's not the next game, but a couple later. But Devin Vassal's been out here for a while for the Spurs. Now Trey Jones and Romeo Langford join him in that backcourt. And after Jakob Poeltl getting traded off to Toronto, there is zero desire, absolutely no desire for this team to win basketball games. Popovich, full tank mode. Going to be a wild news cycle for NBA DFS purposes covering this team, but for betting, I could care less about them. Zero chance I'd back the Spurs unless this is somehow extended to 16.5, 17 points or something in that vein. I mean, the Cavs are just on another planet than this opposition here. They're now first in adjusted net rating, according to Dunks3s.com. They're first in defensive rating because that's what they do. Jared Allen, Evan Mobley, hello. I mean, a healthy Cavs team here is no joke. They are very, very good at basketball. So I, if forced to choose, would go to the Cleveland side, minus 14.5. But I'm going to be honest. I don't like a lot of these props. You're looking at a lot of issues in terms of blowout. Not a whole lot that really stands out to me here unless we can take advantage of some numbers and a number of San Antonio pieces get ruled out from nowhere. But perfectly healthy team, I think you know what that does to me. It makes me hit pass, but leaning my team minus 14.5 on the Cleveland side. Off to Indiana for Jazz and Pacers. Whoop-de-doo. Tyrese Halliburton and Miles Turner questionable, so no props on the Indy side, and don't expect them anytime soon, you know, because they're by far the two best players, and if they had lines out, we'd take advantage of it. But the Jazz side, is Russell Westbrook actually going to play for this team at some point? I thought they were just going to buy him out by now, but it sounds like he has a chance of suiting up for them. I mean, Utah is 28-30. They're 11th in the West, but the back end of the West is wide open as 4th. All the way to 4th is only 31-27. That's not that big of a gap, so not all that far away. But why would you bring Westbrook into this situation? You saw the issues he had with the Lakers. Can't imagine he's going to be stoked about a 20-minute-a-game role or something of that nature. But look, I love the man. He's a shell of his former self, though. Nobody can deny that. It's going to be fascinating to watch this play out. But in the meantime, they're healthy, and they've got a lot of dudes that also are in-house there. And one of those dudes, Lauri Markkanen, is very good at basketball. Points prop is at 26.5 here. He averages just 24.8 on the season, but you've now shipped out a number of pieces. The Pacers are 7th in pace, 23rd in adjusted defensive rating, in Utah, again, those pieces, Mike Conley, Jared Vanderbilt, they are barren in terms of scoring besides Markkanen and Jordan Clarkson. So I am all about the over for King Lauri here in Indiana. Not enough to lock it, but a definite like is in order against this potentially barren Pacers team. Off to Philadelphia, and oh, guess what? Joel Embiid questionable for the 598,362nd game in a row. Glenn Rivers. That's a joke, actually, because I know his name is Doc Rivers. But Greg Ehrenberg, another fellow insider here at Stokastic, another guy that just, I mean, we just don't care. We don't care whatsoever about the Sixers team and their lies. Yes, you heard me, lies, because their injury report is a joke every single time out. Joel Embiid's played a lot of games in a row, and then he'll just randomly sit at some point. And I will say, I'm a little freaked out here because I do think if there was a game to sit Joel Embiid, it would be at home. 14.5-point favorites. You could still find a way to win against the Houston Rockets. And you have heard my affinity for guys like Alperen Sengun if you're in the premium Discord, where you can sign up for below. We've been on a couple of his props. Jalen Green back in the mix. And now Kevin Porter Jr. Sounds like he's close to returning. Not sure if it's here, but I would want to get involved with 14.5 if that were to be the case. And that's where I kind of just have a preemptive like going their direction. They covered 12.5, lost a close one to Miami last time out. And it's just a team that I think overall has an identity now, where Alperen Sengun playing through him in the post, letting him distribute for this basketball team. And Joel Embiid out there, I expect him. No reason to think he doesn't play in this game. Shake Milton actually sounds like he's going to be playing as well, getting back into the fold for a very limited role here, but not really liking the Philadelphia side when you have to like, what, 14.5 on them? Coming off of the disappointment of the Super Bowl, none of that matters. What matters is math. I have Houston being a 12-point dog here. 2.5 points. Give me a like on that kind of a number. I said we have a new DraftKings offer, and check this out. We're going to be backing South Alabama facing Hartford. We're talking Connecticut. Not UConn, but Hartford, Connecticut. They are not good for the old basketball. Telling you right now, minus 3,000, minus 4,000 at pretty much every book, minus 4,000 at DraftKings. That's what matters. And that turns into plus 3,000. You bet $5 and win yourself $150 right now. So go click the money line. Yes, just the money line. You don't even need to put it on the spread because we're just looking for a winning bet, period. End of story. So take the biggest favorite on the college basketball board, being South Alabama. Can't tell you one player for them. Going up against Hartford, get yourself that free $150 and utilize that in the NBA streets because, hey, it's the main show in town now with the NFL gone. Check it out. Go sign up at DraftKings. Do that in the video description box below. Alrighty, y'all, back to the picks. I kind of like when this works out, when we have back-to-back locks, because you're going to be locked in right now and paying attention to everything I have to say. It's the Denver Nuggets going up against the Miami Heat, and yeah, I'm very happy that we backed Houston, because this team, this Miami team, it's truly like a high school squad that just plays to the level of their competition. And you see just a, minus 1.5 point spread here. They barely beat Houston the other night. And I think we're going to see Miami, Eric Spoelstra, a very good coach, but they're just going out to win ball games at whatever cost. Doesn't matter by 50, doesn't matter by 2. You know, it's playing to the level of your competition for sure. Well, there's one piece of this competition on the Denver side who's pretty darn good at basketball. His name's Nikola Jokic. Heard of him? He's won back-to-back MVPs. Probably going to make it 3 in a row here. I'm paying very close attention to Aaron Gordon, who is questionable for this game. Jamal Murray, who is questionable for this game. You could be looking at Jokic as if he doesn't do enough for this basketball team. He could be asked to do absolutely everything. And Bam Adebayo on the other side, a very adequate defender there for Miami. All of his advanced analytics for years have just been fantastic in terms of the post for Miami. Coached by Eric Spoelstra, he's pretty good at that. But Nikola Jokic averaging 25, 11.5, and 10 on the season. They're playing through him every single time, as they should. He is producing every single time out, like he should. Triple-double in, 4 of his last 5? We're still getting inside of minus 200 on this stuff. I'm telling you, we were getting plus money. We're talking plus 145, plus 165, and jamming it in the premium Discord. And I want you to come along for the ride here on the videos. Lock button. Yeah, you heard me. Lock button triple-double on Nikola Jokic. So wild to even say those words, but if you had to put your soul on one bet tomorrow, don't do that. That's really awkward. I don't know who you're dealing with that you have to do such a thing, but Nikola Jokic triple-doubling would be my favorite that exists in terms of value on the board, close to minus 110, close to just a random point spread. My God, what a player prop. What a time to be alive. Jokic, jam it, triple-doubling against Adebayo, Butler, and Fam in Miami. I said we have back-to-back locks. Doesn't work out that way very often, especially on an 11-game slate, but you know what? The gods are good. The basketball gods are good today. And Brooklyn going up against New York, the Battle of New York, if you will. Pretty excited for this one, actually, because the new look Brooklyn Nets, they have some new dudes in town. Dorian Finney-Smith, Cameron Johnson, Spencer Dinwiddie, Mikal Bridges. Lots of pieces, lots of things that we're going to be paying very, very close attention to. And they lost a close one to Philadelphia the other day, but I truly find this team to be very, very interesting to watch going forward. They're still well within the playoff consideration there in the East, in the Eastern Conference. Do I think they're going to win the East? Absolutely not. But when you have 3-and-D wings, when you have Spencer Dinwiddie creating, if Cam Thomas can get back to being his bad self, you could be looking at a Brooklyn team that overachieves coming down the stretch. But this is really all about Jalen Brunson for me. Holy mother of God, did they pay him a lot of money? And holy mother of God, did it work out for the New York Knickerbockers? Check it out. We are seeing him average on the season 23.6, 4, and 6. But that usage has ramped up here of late, playing major minutes. We're talking 39 and 3 straight, 25, 30, 38. We're starting to see him assert himself offensively. And now Josh Hart being added into the mix for them, that's not a very high usage guy who's going to be playing a lot of minutes. We saw him play 26 his first time out. I see those minutes starting to trend up. And when you put another low usage player out onto the floor, that creates more opportunity for Jalen Brunson. So I think we want to be early to a couple of these plays going towards his direction. He had 22 shot attempts. He got to the line 15 times against Utah. And we're starting to see those 3-point attempts really ramp up as well. He shoots over 40%, almost 41% from 3 on the season. So, single game parlay for all you people. I want Jalen Brunson not just for points, but I want his threes as well. 25.5 points and 1.5 threes going against this Brooklyn team. Yeah, they're wings. Really good defenders. Dorian Finney-Smith, Mikal Bridges, but Spencer Dinwiddie, Cam Thomas, not at the top of my board in terms of defense. Neither should they be at the top of yours. So Jalen Brunson, I think, smashes and continues to smash for this Knicks team that does have the playoffs well within their sights. Over on both of those. Lock it up. Kind of one of our adopted teams here on Lindy's Leans, Likes, and Locks. We've got the Orlando Magic going up against the Chicago Bulls. And if you're joining me for the first time, do I think Orlando's that good? No. But they are completely undervalued here of late with a lot of their healthy pieces getting back into the mix. We're seeing Jalen Suggs in that starting unit really really be effective for the first time in his 2 years in the league. Excited to see him develop next to Bull, Jonathan Isaac, young players that really make some sense. Chumo Kiki, Wendell Carter Jr. In the post there. And then, of course, Markelle Fultz, who I talk about pretty much every single time, and Paolo Banchero, the #1 pick from the draft last season. Chicago's a little strange to me as they didn't really make any moves at the deadline whatsoever. They kept the same nucleus intact with Nikola Vucevic, Zach LaVine, DeMar DeRozan, and I don't know why. Because this team doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to me the way that it's currently constructed. Did I think it was an interesting decision to go out and get Vooch a couple of years ago? Yeah, absolutely. You're trying to win basketball games, and the East was a little bit down, but it is a juggernaut now. You have no chance with Philly, with Toronto making some moves that were pretty interesting. Of course, the Bucks. There's just no way you can ascend. And Cleveland probably the favorite here at this point in time alongside Boston. Both of those teams 1-2 in the East. I don't see what Chicago's doing here. So plus 5.5 on an Orlando team that's been playing very competitive basketball here of late, starting to get a lot of pieces healthier and into the mix. Even Jonathan Isaac coming off the bench there, a pretty interesting spot. Just saying, Orlando's a lot better than people think they are. They have been making us a lot of money recently. I think they continue that trend, but because there's 11 games, because there are better bets on the board, I'm just going to call it a lean for the time being. Got to think about it. Maybe we get 6.5. So this is one of those things where you wait, you see if you can get the number you really want, and if you don't, are you going to be that sad you missed on Orlando? I hope not, because they're Orlando. Let's just go to the next game. Kind of a bummer here for the Pelicans going up against the OKC Thunder. They're actually, look at that, 2-point dogs against the Thunder. It is February 13th. It is 2023. But no Zion Williamson. That's the huge bummer here. They just apparently announced that he had a setback in his rehab, and we're not looking at Zion for a long time with this aggravated right hamstring injury. Huge bummer because he's one of the more fun athletic bigs to watch in the entire league. Athletic freak, but you know what? You kind of need hamstrings to play sports. It's at least what I heard. Kadarius Toney proved that. He found one today. Anytime touchdown. Shout out Greg Ehrenberg. Great work by him. But CJ McCollum, we're going to be paying attention to that. He is questionable with a right ankle sprain on the Pelican side. If he sits, it is all about Brandon Ingram. Not sure they're going to hang up a player prop before that news comes down, because if they did, take the over. How about that? But in the meantime, I think the one thing that stands out to me is a like on the over of 235.5. My model's got this closer to 239 when you put in pace for both of these teams. When you take out any responsibility of defense, neither of these teams really have any desire to do such things. And SGA, we are talking about an absolute dude here. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is so good at the game of basketball. Did anybody watch him play Portland the other night? Comfortable 9-point win, but he hung up 44 on Lillard's grill. It was enjoyable to watch. You're seeing Jalen Williams really emerge. Both Jalen Williamses. Jalen Williams-I. I'm going to find out what the plural is of that one day. But in the meantime, the over of 235.5, that is what my model likes. So therefore, I like it too. We move along to my Minnesota Timberwolves in Dallas, taking on this new look team. You got Luka Doncic. You got Kyrie Irving. They're 0-1 together. They lost to Sacramento over the weekend. That's a bummer. Oh, too bad. Kyrie, everybody's cheering for him, right? I'm not tomorrow, but I mean, we'll find out here. I'm actually cheering for him to eat up usage, and we'll get to that in a second, but covering the Minnesota side, doing my due diligence. Same kind of crap you're running into all the time here. No Karl Anthony Towns, and everybody else healthy. Should be good to go here. Mike Conley, hey, welcome to the fray, friend. You lost by 21 in Memphis. Thanks for showing up. Really glad we made that trade. That's going to go well for us. Why not get rid of a good shooter in D'Angelo Russell for absolutely nothing? Pile of doo-doo. Still have Rudy Gobert out there. You know what? This Minnesota team is just a problem, but I'm looking at Dallas, and even though they're 7.5-point favorites, and even though Luka Doncic, Kyrie Irving sharing the floor is going to be very enjoyable, I don't think it's going to be enjoyable if you're a Luka Doncic season-long holder, or in the very near future, somebody who's taking overs on him. First of all, I think you're a little nuts in that regard, because Kyrie Irving, very good at basketball, a guy who's going to eat up around 28% of usage here on the Dallas Mavericks in the near future. And this team does not like to play fast. We're talking about a team that is 29th out of 30 NBA teams in terms of pace. 96 possessions per 48 minutes. That is not a lot of basketball time to be out there accumulating stats. And now you went from sharing the floor with Spencer Dinwiddie to sharing a floor with Kyrie Irving. That is drastically different. That is why I think 32.5 is a little bit of a poor decision by the books to hang up this number. I've got him closer to 30.5. And I think if you've been watching me all year long, you have seen I've backed Luka ad nauseum, pretty much overs across the board constantly. But I think they want to get Kyrie Irving involved early and often on this team. And even though the total sits above 230, which I'm kind of leaning towards the under there too. I know all of you guys over there in the comment section, you're also looking for my totals, my spreads, everything in addition to these player props. I like the under for this game at 231.5. I'm not going to hit it yet here. I'm going to wait, see if I can maybe get a little single game parlay with Luka, the under there. And then with a healthy Minnesota team with Mike Conley leading it, I think we're going to see pace come down for the Timberwolves as well. So a couple of like leaps of faith here as I start breaking down both of these teams. Want to see if once again we can get a little bit better number. Happy to lean under 32.5 on Luka in the meantime. 2 games and 2 plays left to go. We have the Washington Wizards facing the Golden State Warriors here, and Steph Curry continuing to be out on the Golden State side. That shouldn't surprise anybody. Kyle Kuzma upgraded to questionable here. I think he's probably more likely to play than not for Washington, which is kind of a bummer. I've been enjoying making money on these Bradley Beal props here of late. Nice to just see a guy start to assert himself offensively. He's seen 34 and 32 in 2 of his last 3. Just the usage being ramped up. But when you add Kyle Kuzma back into the fray, hard to really click that button. Hard to really get yourself involved in Bradley Beal props unless you're looking at unders. As it stands right now at his current numbers, I am not even against Golden State in a game with an over 230 total, but I am all about Jordan Poole here in the near future until some of these numbers adjust. And this is just a weird one to me. 34.5 points plus rebounds plus assists. Sure, he averages 21, 3, and 4.5 on the season. That's 21, 24, 28.5. Okay, I understand. Drastic difference in terms of 6 PRA, but no Steph Curry and Jordan Poole starting. Have they not figured out that this man is going to put up 30 routinely on a day in, day out basis when he's shooting it well? 25 shot attempts now his last 2 games, double-digit 3-point attempts in all 3 games, all of his last 3 games. We're seeing assist totals go through the moon, 12, 7, and 6 in his last 3. These are just absent Steph Curry. I think you need to be playing overs until this is closer to 37.5. So I'm over on 34.5 all day, all night. Not a lock, but definitely a like. You want value? Here is value to round out our night. It is the Los Angeles Lakers going up against the Portland Trail Blazers, who kind of some weird moves at the deadline. Let's go through Portland here, shall we? They have Jeremy Grant here as questionable. He's not getting moved. Yusuf Nurkic, who's been playing more limited minutes, he's going to be out for this game. And they went out and acquired Kevin Knox and Matisse Thybulle at the wings. Huh? What are we doing here? Josh Hart is a phenomenal rebounding wing. He's an okay defender, nothing special in any terms, but a decent enough piece. And Matisse Thybulle has 0 offensive game. Kevin Knox is trash. I apologize to his family if they're watching this program. Seems like a nice kid, but Kevin Knox II, he is not my 3rd, 4th, or 5th option, or let alone my 2nd option that I would want in that family. I'm sure Kevin Knox the senior has some game, but I'm looking at this Lakers side as the one that is being completely undervalued here, because if LeBron James plays, which he is not the last 2 with this left ankle issue, this number is just out of whack to me. I thought the Lakers were one of the teams that shocked me at the deadline. I cannot believe the way that they went out and got D'Angelo Russell, capable shooting, Rui Hachimura from Washington, a castaway, Malik Beasley, another guy, top 15 in terms of 3-point shooting and 3-point makes in terms of a 3-point efficiency as well throughout the entire season this year. So they found ways to acquire shooting, which is really all they needed to surround LeBron James with. And they got rid of Russell Westbrook, one of the least efficient players in the NBA this season. So what are we doing here with this line? If LeBron James is healthy and playing here, I'm willing to make this a prospective money line lock Yeah, you heard me. Moneyline lock. I'm getting plus money on the Lakers with Anthony Davis and LeBron James going up against Damian Lillard, who's just going to be out there doing volume things. I'm very confused by this line. So I like what the Lakers did at the deadline. Think we want to be early to the party there. Plus, the interior there, getting rid of Thomas Bryant, turning that into what? Rui Hachimura, Jared Vanderbilt, Mo Bamba. Mo Bamba. He doesn't matter. But either way, I'm very excited to see this Lakers team in its current construction. And Portland, I don't know what you're doing. So, Lakers, money line, lock it up if LeBron James plays basketball. And that does it for another edition of Lindy's Leans, Likes, and Locks. You know what to do. Head to that comment section below. Let me know how much you missed me over the weekend. Oh, Eric, it's so good to see you. Oh, Eric, you know, I got murdered on the Super Bowl. I had terrible takes. But either way, I have great NBA takes. We have been fire, absolute fire in that premium Discord. I went 9-0 in terms of outrights. There's a dude I need to retweet, actually, who parlayed them all together. 90 bucks, he turned into 15K. What a disgusting win that is. Maybe I should get into parlays. That was really, really upsetting to see. But you know what? Hey, good for him. I'm happy to help you all. And again, 4-0 in the premium Discord in terms of outrights on Friday. I'm looking to recapture the magic on Monday. You can sign up for that in the video description box below. But we also have DraftKings. Bet $5, win yourself $150 in any sport. And if you have a gambling problem, please call 1-800-GAMBLER, 21 and over. That is everything on this program for 21 and over. Alrighty, y'all. I'll be back on Tuesday. I'll be a little bit more calibrated coming off of the Super Bowl for this one. But hey, we got the work in. We put it in. I hope you guys can all be successful as well as myself. I want to be successful too on Monday. Until then, I'm Eric Lindquist. Best of luck in the NBA streets tomorrow.